You are finally taking the trip to Florence and you are going to call it Firenze once you return.
This video is everything you need to know to make sure you're able to make the most of your time in my favorite Italian city, Firenze. After visiting multiple times, studying Italian at La Scuola Leonardo da Vinci, and living with this 80-year-old host mom, these are my tips from my experience and from locals on how to enjoy Firenze.
Saying your tip is our tip.
Take two.
These are our tips to enjoy Firenze.
Let's say together. These are our tips to enjoy Firenze.
These are our tips to enjoy Firenze.
Joy, what is the best time to visit Firenze?
Florence is actually the 8th largest city in Italy, just under 400,000 people. So however, Florence is known as a huge hub for international students coming to experience Italy. Therefore, it's almost always buzzing during the school year, but it's definitely the most crowded during the summer. So if you're trying to avoid shoulder-to-shoulder tourists, make sure you avoid going in the summer, and I highly recommend you go during March to June or save it for September to October. And honestly, when we went in September, it was still very busy and hot. Let's talk a little bit about the weather.
Generally, the summer in Italy can be very hot, while the winter can be mild temperature or raining. I would say the month to avoid is August because, as we mentioned in other Italian videos, if you are following us, August is the month where all the people in Italy, as well as many other European countries, have vacation days, and so would be the most crowded. In addition, like usually when you go to visit cities, you go around, go to museum, walk around the streets, and can be very uncomfortable during August and July, and especially during the hottest hours from 11 a.m. to 2 to 3 p.m. So avoid August.
All Italians are on vacation in August. Remember that every time you think about Italy.
But if you cannot avoid to choose August, remember to bring a bottle of water always with you.
How to get to Florence? Well, first off, you need to get a flight to Italy, which you can get for free.
I wish, how?
So if you rent an apartment and have built MasterCard, and you can get points from paying rent.
So if you are renting and do not have this card, you are missing out on a lot of points.
Tens of thousands of points of which you can use to book your next trip to Europe because Bilt has partnered with over 500 airlines and 700 hotels. Make sure to use the link below to start earning tens of thousands of points on the rent that you're already paying.
Once you arrive to Italy, the best way to get to Florence is definitely by train. The train station is called Santa Maria Novella. For example, you can get from Rome to Florence in approximately 90 minutes for about $55. Milan to Florence in approximately 2 hours for more $50 to $100. And Bologna to Florence in 40 minutes for about $35. All this for a high-velocity train called Frecciarossa or Italo. If instead you want to save some money, you can take the Regionale, which is a much slower train. It will cost you less. It will take you more hours to get to Florence.
How many days do you need in Florence?
Well, this is a hard question, but depending on what you like to do and visit, I would suggest 3-4 days is a good amount.
And you could even add additional days to travel around the Tuscan region.
One of the most beautiful regions in Italy.
Yes, you can use Florence as a base camp and check out different cities by train to check out other cities for day trips, like Arezzo, Pisa,
Siena. Arezzo, Pisa, Siena.
Lucca.
Livorno.
We'll touch on this in a little bit later, but of course there's many places to check out for wine.
Yes, and also the inland is just beautiful with all the hills of all different colors. It's something very magical, especially if you love nature.
When you think of Tuscany, that's what we're talking about.
So, what is Florence known for?
Florence is the birthplace of the Renaissance. The first time I went to Florence, I did not expect to see this type of architecture when I arrived. It's completely different from Rome and Milan, if you've been there. This is where the Medici, a powerful banking family, decided to pull everyone out of the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages, a time where there was no technological advancement
for 500 years.
And they did this by hiring the brightest minds of the time, like Michelangelo, Raffaello. What am I saying?
If you say Michelangelo in Italian, you say Raphael.
I know, I said Raffaello at the second time. Michelangelo, Raffaello, Donatello, and of course Leonardo da Vinci. And the result was this magnificent city. Though it was built in the 15th and 16th century, through the centuries, it has continued to prove its beauty even till today. So I guess you could call that mission a success.
Throughout Firenze, you will have access to many amazing museums, and what I always say is that Firenze is a giant outdoor museum. So many amazing monuments surrounding you wherever you go. I definitely recommend to take a walking tour around the city. Sometimes you will also be able to find some for free. However, make sure to give a tip to the tour guide.
I recommend doing a walking tour after you first get to Florence, after you get lost and be amazed by what you're looking at, and then you'll be able to understand what you're looking at for the rest of your trip. You'll understand that there's so many secrets to Florence. Like this drawing on Palazzo Vecchio. When you're here, here's the statue of Hercules. There's actually two in the area. But now you come over here. See right here? There's a face. The legend is that that was actually created by Michelangelo. And he had a heckler, someone telling him like he's not so good at what he does or he's overrated or something like that. And then he just turned around and then made this drawing like behind his back with a chisel like this. Or like this statue of Perseus, where if you look behind him, on the back of his head, you can see the face of the actual sculptor. Or that the dome on the Duomo, the world's largest dome, was actually modeled after an egg by Brunelleschi. Uffizi Gallery is one of the most famous museums in the world that you'll be able to have access to. Definitely go early, and another one that you can check out is Palazzo Pitti. And behind that is the Boboli Gardens. You can spend almost half a day or a full day at these museums. So if you're a student, make sure to bring your ID for discounts. Where is the best place to catch the sunset in Florence?
With the Duomo being such an important centerpiece, the city landscape is very picturesque. One of the most famous spots to watch sunset is Piazzale Michelangelo. This is a very well-known area and it will be very crowded, but it actually is one of the best views of the city, since you can see the river as well as all the main monuments.
But if you want similar views with less crowds, just nearby is Forte San Minato. Here, you can feel free to bring a bottle of wine and just enjoy the sunset without the huge crowd of people.
And remember, in Italy you can drink outside.
So it is a little bit of a hike up a road to get up there, so just keep that in mind, but so is Piazzale Michelangelo. There's also a cool church to check out too. Some other places that are good views that I learned from locals while I was there. I feel like I'm giving away all my secrets here, and by the time I go back, it's gonna be too crowded for me to go. Rinascente is a mall inside Piazza della Repubblica. And if you go inside and go up this escalator and then up the next escalator and then another escalator, and then you go to the back and there's stairs that lead to a cafe on a rooftop that has the most amazing view of the Duomo. So you can go up there, grab a spritz or a coffee, and then just kind of chill and relax and enjoy the view. The prices here are a little bit more expensive than your regular coffee shop or cafe in Florence, but it's worth the view. The next spot I like is actually inside the library called Biblioteca delle Oblate, which is actually a really nice library that you should check out anyways. So when you go up, there's actually another cafe with totally different drinks available. Very creative takes on coffee, but you can order drinks, whether it's alcohol or coffee there, and then sit outside and enjoy this nice view of the Duomo as well. Of course, there's other rooftops around Florence, but these are the ones that locals had told me, and I have found that they're kind of almost a secret. So as you know, France and I like to eat a lot. So let's talk about the food in Florence.
Remember, as we said in other videos, the beauty of Italy is that each region is known for its own dishes.
And we call these traditional dishes
piatti tipici.
And where can you find these?
In trattoria.
Yes, the restaurant's called Trattoria. And we have a couple recommendations coming up. When it comes to food in Florence, there's one dish that is very popular.
If I have to guess, bistecca fiorentina.
Exactly. This is not your normal steak by any means. And when they drop it on the table, it makes a noise This steak is 1 kilogram usually, and what that means is 2.2 pounds, which normally when you're in the US and you're ordering a steak, it's usually between 4 ounces and 16 ounces.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. 16 ounces is 1 pound. This is huge, and the reason why it's so huge is because it actually comes from a breed of cow called Chianina, which is native to Tuscany. Not only is it one of the oldest breeds of cow, it's actually one of the largest in the world. The steak itself is so good and has a lot of flavor. Usually there's only going to be salt and pepper on it, but it has a very distinct taste and flavor, and you'll be able to get that at so many different restaurants in the area. And they do have one steakhouse that is actually known as one of the top steakhouses in the world, and it's called Trattoria dell'Oste. And I went here and I spent about $80 on my steak, and it was worth it.
Another typical dish is schiacciata, which is a type of bread crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside, used to make famous sandwiches in Florence. You may already know about the world-famous place named All'Antico Vinaio.
You might have seen videos about this place already, and the lines are long, and almost always there's a line, but it moves quickly. But is it worth all the hype?
Absolutely yes.
It's so good. We almost missed our train trying to get one more sandwich before we left.
I know.
All the sandwiches are very good, and the reason why it's good is because of the fresh bread that's coming out, the cured meats that they use, and then the different creams that they had, like cream of pistachio, stracciatella.
Stracciatella, which is a type of soft cheese, cream of mushrooms,
Yes.
cream of like olives, garlic,
everything.
everything you can imagine. And not only the schiacciata itself is amazing, but really all the products are so fresh, and
High
it's
quality.
it is simply
Yes.
amazing.
Okay, our favorite sandwich is Il Paradiso, which is fresh mortadella, cream of pistachio, and stracciatella.
But that was also your favorite?
Huh? Yeah, that's what I went back for.
Oh, because the first time when we took, something else.
Okay, maybe we can have the
That
same
is
favorite.
my
We could have
favorite.
the same favorite sandwich. What's going on?
That is my favorite, and I guess that after I ate it, you wanted to.
Dante was my favorite one beforehand, so you can also try Dante. And again, all these sandwiches are good. Another sandwich shop that you might want to check out is Pino's. The owner is really cool there. I actually saw him twice when I was on a wine tasting. He was also the sommelier. Really good guy and really good sandwiches. So I wanted to give him a shout out too. So check him out. Other foods that you should try in Florence. Ribollita. Ribollita is a hearty Tuscan white bean stew with vegetables that is thickened overnight. So it takes about 24 hours to make this, and it's very tasty. And so you want to try this if you see it on the menu. And then another one is papa al pomodoro, which is basically a tomato bread soup. And you can try all of these, including the steak, at a restaurant called Trattoria Zaza. And so it has a sample platter with these, with ribollita, papa al pomodoro, and then another type of bean soup there too. So you can try it all. So another typical dish that I like that Franci does not like is something called lampredotto. Come on, be nice. So this, you're either gonna love it or not like it. And what it is, do you want to explain what lampredotto is?
So essentially, it's a sandwich made with the stomach of the cow. Yeah, you heard well. The stomach of the cow. I guess it's obvious why I don't like it.
Okay, so maybe it's not for everyone, but it is a famous street food here in Florence. Basically, it's a very glorified version of a Chicago Italian beef sandwich. The bread is also dipped in the sauce too, so it's very good. If you try it, let me know in the comments below if you like it or if you don't. Another one that actually I don't like, which you don't like either, is the tripe sandwich. So the tripe sandwich, that kind of has to do with the texture. It's a little bit too slimy for me, and definitely too slimy for Franci. So if you like the tripe sandwich, which my sister does, but let us know if you do like it too. Okay, other restaurants that I can recommend: Antica Trattoria da Tito. So Tito, really good food experience. If you go inside, the family is working. They're loud, they're funny, and then you can write on the wall when you're there. When you finish eating, you can. If you go there, let me know. I can let you know where my signature is in the restaurant. What I love there is the pappardelle con cinghiale. What is cinghiale?
I don't know the translation in English.
Oh, it's boar. It's wild boar. It's really tasty and good. And what you have to understand about Florentine and Tuscan food is that it's very slow cooked, long time. So there's a lot of flavors within their dishes, and that's what I think makes Tuscan food so good.
Wait, but in all of this, we forgot something to mention. Always order your food with a very good glass of wine. And specifically, I would always go in Florence with the red wine.
Yes. Florence and the Tuscany region is known for their wines. There is Chianti Classico, Montepulciano, and then there's one more.
Veraccia di San Gimignano, Vino Nobile di Montepulciano, e Brunello di Montalcino. Very good, high quality red wines.
Chianti Classico. You can know which one's Chianti Classico because you know what they have on top of the bottle.
What they have on top of the bottle, the symbol.
Yes. What does it look like?
Is like a anchor. Kind of a flower anchor.
It's a black rooster.
Look at it. I usually drink directly, not look at that.
Yeah, but also the house wines at the restaurants are also very good and cost less too, and they're very good. So don't skip out on the table wines at the restaurants, especially at Tito.
Yeah,
it's really
it's
good.
actually called Vino della Casa.
Yes. Very good. So let's talk a little bit about the nightlife. So you'll have a lot to choose from in Florence because it is a young city with a lot of students, university students being there. So at night, the streets are out, people are socializing, and then you can go to different bars, clubs, or even karaoke. So there's one bar I would like you guys to check out. It's called Ebby's, and it's one guy, his name is Ebby, and you go to the bar and he creates the best presentation for these cocktails, and I don't even think that you get to order the cocktail. You just tell him you want a drink, and then he makes the cocktail for you, and he makes it in such a fun and different way, and you ask him for a drink, he gives you a drink, you pay him, and then you go on with the rest of your night. But it's a fun experience, and you'll see like he's a very classic guy, well known in the city.
And in Italy, like a shot is only €1 or €2, so very cheap. Yeah, in the US I was so shocked when it was $10. I'm like, what is a cocktail?
Yeah, it's true. And then shopping in Florence. So what is Florence known for? They're known for its Italian leather. And there's not a better place in Italy to find leather than in Florence. So if you're looking for some Italian leather, there's a lot of different places that you can go. I personally like to go to San Lorenzo, Piazza San Lorenzo, because this is the place where they've been selling leather and clothes for like hundreds and hundreds of years. And so that's where I get my leather jackets.
Make sure you go to a real local Italian store because being Florence known for this like leather, there could be some stores that kind of sell more either fake or not as high quality leather. But you can find anything like jacket leathers, so many beautiful bag leathers, as well as like bags for work or like backpack. Yeah. So you will have fun to have shopping there.
And a quick tip, leather doesn't burn. So you know that your leather is real, you can take a lighter and heat it up and it's not going to burn.
Well, so, what if it then burns? Who pays?
If it burns, it's fake. Ask them, can you burn the leather? If you ask them, can you burn the leather, they will have no problem doing it.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's a good
I've done it. So I hope you understand how difficult it is to answer that question. How many days do you need in Florence? Because there's so many different things to do and see, and around the city too, there's a lot of places to explore. So if you have any more questions, be sure to drop the comments below, and then if you have some recommendations, make sure to share that for everyone too. And 1, 2, 3, we'll see you on the next video. 1, 2, 3, and we'll see you on the next video.